Will I get better? And how long will it take? Of course, there is no short answer to that, and everybody is different. Everybody has different resiliency. Everybody different ages. How long were you on the How long were you on the benzo? What dose were you on the benzo? What was the reason for use? What's your age, your health? How physical were you? What's your, what kind of, are you a ruminator? I mean, there's so many factors that go in to answering that question. So in a nutshell, I think a rule of thumb, and this is loose again, guys, is the length of use equals the length of recovery. So if you were on it for 6 months, it's probably going to take you 6 months to really get over those symptoms. If you were on it a couple of years, probably going to take you a couple of years. Now, what happens is after maybe 5 years, things get to speed up. So if you've been on it 5 years, no, it's not going to take you necessarily 5 years to heal, although you could still be healing in 5 years, but the bulk of that, maybe 80% of your healing would have taken place within the first 2 to 3 years, I would say. That's just my general observation, working with people, things that I've gone through. So the rule of thumb is length of use equals recovery. 25% of your healing happens during the taper. A lot of people don't understand this. They go, well, I'm healing while I'm tapering? Well, sure, and here's how you know. Okay, so I started at 40 milligrams. By the time I got to 10 milligrams, even though I felt horrible, I mean, I was in the throes of the worst of it. If I would have taken 40 milligrams of Valium again, it would have just knocked me out. It would have been way too much, So my brain was already healing those synapses and sort of undoing that severe dependence. So it is happening. And as you get lower, it gets easier. Think of it like this. If you drank a bottle of tequila every night to go to bed, and then we taper you down to 1 beer in the morning, well, sure, 1 beer just on toxicity and sheer effect is going to be much less severe on your body, your mind, your behavior than a bottle of tequila, right? So that said, 25% of healing happens during taper. 50% of the healing happens the first year or 2 years after, and 25% the rest of the healing typically 2 years on. Again, it is a factor of how high your dose was. Why did you get prescribed? How long were you on the dose? How old are you? How resilient are you? How physically active are you? Are you ruminating? Do you have a support group? What's your diet like? Are you able to sleep? Did other manifesting conditions emerge that are going to complicate things? So a lot of stuff. Are you exposing? Exposure and exercise are your saving grace. I mean, they are the angels on your shoulder in beating this thing. And of course, they're the hardest thing to do. And the thing that I find most resistance, from people when I'm talking to them about benzo healing. They say, well, I can't do exposure and I can't exercise. You're crazy. You didn't go through this like I did. I'm different, And to that I say, look, we can always start with baby steps. I'm not asking you to join a gym tomorrow. I'm saying if you've been isolating yourself in a room all night, or every night for the last year, it's time to start coming out of the room. It's time to start going out in the yard. It's time to walk to the mailbox. It's time to walk to the stop sign, to the corner store, around the block, start driving your car at night, close to home. I mean, this is how we push the bar back and we regain control of our lives.